I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their styles.
He was, after I gave birth, he was like, oh my gosh, if I lost you and I, went to the park with our 3 kids, I mean.
We're going to move as quickly as we possibly can and prove our innocence.
When Justin Bolden's attorney stepped out of the courthouse, the air outside was thick with anticipation. Reporters surged forward, microphones high, desperate for a soundbite after the day's shock ruling. What was supposed to be a quiet procedural hearing had turned into headline material. Against all expectations, the judge refused to grant a gag order on Blake Lively. What many assumed would be rubber-stamped in silence instead detonated like a firecracker in the middle of an otherwise routine pre-trial session. From that moment, the entire tone shifted. The courtroom was no longer a place for dull formality, it had transformed into a stage where strategies collided in real time. Whispers spread quickly. Blake's team wasn't coming in to play defense anymore. They were signaling an offensive. And then came their deadline, a bold promise that by Valentine's Day, their side would launch a counterstrike. No one could say what form it would take, but the very idea of a looming bombshell had journalists rushing to file stories before the dust even settled. Speculation multiplied. Some insiders murmured about pressure from unseen power players, while others suggested Blake's attorneys had quietly lined up sworn statements from names absent from the official court records. The frenzy was building by the hour. Yet amid the storm, Bolden's lawyer, Brian Friedman, struck a calm pose before the press. He brushed off the chatter, insisting that his client's innocence would soon speak for itself. His composure was measured, but everyone could see the deeper game at play. This fight was no longer confined to motions and filings. It was a duel over public perception, with both sides planting stories, dropping hints, and tightening the screws on each other through calculated leaks. But the headlines didn't stop at strategy. Whispers of betrayal cracked open another layer of drama. A leaked exchange revealed bitter remarks and accusations, exposing fractures among people once thought to be trusted allies. What began as routine discussions about projects and scripts had spiraled into claims of sabotage. Suddenly, the united front that Justin's camp projected looked fragile. Those cracks, insiders suggested, weren't new, they had been forming quietly for years. The question became unavoidable: was this about clearing Justin's name, or was it about discrediting rivals under the guise of justice? That doubt only grew when eagle-eyed followers noticed a cryptic message in the footer of Bolden's website, teasing new uploads to come. No context, no explanation, just a hint that more revelations were on the horizon. It felt less like legal strategy and more like psychological warfare, each move crafted to rattle the other side. Yet even that twist was overshadowed by something bigger: Ryan Reynolds' sudden and very public reversal. Once considered a close friend and frequent collaborator of Baldon, Ryan had long spoken warmly of him. The two had shared charity events, fundraisers, red carpets, Ryan often praising Justin's professionalism and creativity. But leaked private texts flipped the narrative upside down. In them, Ryan allegedly branded Justin a dangerous predator. For fans, the whiplash was stunning. How could admiration turn to condemnation so abruptly? Theories exploded online. Some insisted Ryan had learned new information. Others believed he was pressured into distancing himself to protect his own reputation. Conspiracy theories flourished, pointing to rival camps pulling strings to fracture alliances. Whatever the truth, Ryan's pivot added fuel to an already raging fire. Through it all, Blake Lively positioned herself not only as a defendant but as a shield for those closest to her. Reports revealed she had pushed for a special protective order, a move designed to keep the dragnet of discovery from pulling in innocent third parties. That request raised new questions. Who exactly was she trying to protect? And what risks lurked just beyond the court filings? Then one name surfaced that turned everything upside down: Taylor Swift. The mere possibility that the pop superstar could be pulled into this legal web sent public interest into overdrive. Fans demanded answers. Would her texts, emails, or private conversations be exposed in discovery? Even the chance of her involvement triggered a media storm. Blake's insistence on protection suddenly looked less like a legal maneuver and more like a desperate attempt to preserve an entire circle of high-profile friends from scrutiny. By now, it was clear, this case was no longer Justin versus Blake. It had ballooned into something bigger, a clash of celebrity, law, and the court of public opinion. Each motion hinted at wider stakes. Each leak pushed more players into the spotlight. The countdown to Valentine's Day now loomed like a timer in a high-stakes game. What would happen when the deadline arrived? And more importantly, whose reputation would survive the fallout?
That because, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful that we're able to have this much anticipation. And it's based on a beautiful, really important book. And it's about a young woman named Lily who confronts the generational cycle.
Hollywood thrives on drama, but not every story behind the curtain plays out like the fairy tale audiences expect. This latest controversy has become more than a trending headline, it feels like a turning point. At its core, the case isn't just about names or contracts. It's about reputation, loyalty, and the razor-thin line between personal boundaries and professional expectations. What began as murmurs has grown into a deafening uproar, pulling even the industry's brightest stars into the harsh glare of public scrutiny. Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Justin Baldoni, three figures typically associated with charm, success, and collaboration, now find themselves caught in a narrative with the potential to reshape how Hollywood confronts its most uncomfortable disputes. Each revelation adds pressure, each leak shortens the fuse on what feels like a ticking time bomb aimed at carefully built public personas. Then came an unexpected twist: the intimacy coordinator. On most productions, the role signals professionalism, ensuring safety and respect during sensitive scenes. But here, the coordinator's presence suggested more than formality. Reports hinted at disputes over creative choices, blurred boundaries, and accountability behind the camera. A pivotal meeting was allegedly called, where cast members openly voiced concerns. The striking detail? Blake Lively didn't attend. Some dismissed her absence as nothing more than a scheduling conflict. Others suspected something more, an intentional decision to avoid simmering tensions. Her empty chair became symbolic, a potential sign of fractures in what had once seemed like an unshakable team. Critics argued those cracks pointed to scandals buried beneath Hollywood's glossy polish. Blake's defenders countered, saying she had no need for a refresher course in protocol. But by then, perception had already shifted. Investigators and reporters widened their scope. Suddenly, it wasn't just the stars under the spotlight, crew members were pulled forward too. Their confidentiality agreements, private conversations, and experiences on set became valuable evidence. What looked at first like a confined dispute was quickly mutating into a sprawling, multi-layered saga. The picture grew even murkier with a surge of leaked messages. Consider Brandon Sr., a longtime ally of Baldoni. Publicly, Brandon spoke glowingly of Justin, describing him as generous, collaborative, and kind. Talk shows and interviews painted the set as harmonious, almost familial, an environment full of laughter and camaraderie. But leaked texts told a different story. Privately, doubts surfaced. Some insiders admitted they felt pressured to maintain a smiling front, fearful of consequences if they spoke honestly. That gap between polished image and private unease shocked observers. It left fans wondering, was Hollywood's constant charm nothing more than performance? And if honesty was so stifled behind the scenes, what else had been deliberately concealed? The contradictions didn't stop with Justin. Blake, too, faced a double-edged narrative. Many remembered her as approachable and warm, a star known for small acts of kindness, casual gatherings, and gestures that built goodwill on set. Yet in the current drama, she appeared as a calculating strategist, prepared to weaponize documents that could inflict lasting reputational damage. Admirers found themselves asking, had her warmth been real, or was it a carefully maintained shield? Another layer of Hollywood performance. Each new leak and legal filing pushed the story further from the light-hearted days when the cast traded jokes on late-night television. Those smiles now seemed like relics of another era. The same people once seen arm in arm were now communicating only through lawyers, their statements trimmed to precision and stripped of warmth. The transformation was stark, a reminder of how fragile camaraderie becomes when legal stakes take center stage. The broader implications were impossible to ignore. Blake's push for a protective order to shield outside figures, including megastars like Taylor Swift, from Discovery confirmed just how wide this net could spread. No one, no matter how insulated, seemed beyond the reach of subpoenas and filings. Hollywood royalty suddenly looked vulnerable, and the industry itself felt exposed, and then there was the deadline. Valentine's Day loomed as more than a symbolic date, it had become a countdown clock for Blake's promised counterstrike. Speculation swirled over what her team might unleash: more text exchanges, damaging depositions, perhaps even buried emails or unreleased video footage. The possibility of explosive revelations sent shockwaves through fan communities, studios, and media circles alike. By now, the story had moved far beyond a clash of personalities. It had become about power, who controls the narrative, who withstands the storm, and who risks losing everything when the spotlight grows too harsh. With each passing day, the sense of inevitability deepened. Another twist was coming. And when it hit, it wouldn't just shape the careers of the stars at its center. It could redefine how Hollywood itself handles conflict when illusion collides with truth.
And he's like, I mean, I've got a long list. And I was like, oh, really? Because I just have one on my list.
I have not seen a case so open and shut in my life. And the more that I read and the more details that I get into, I'm just shocked at how
Hollywood has always been built on illusion, red carpets, flawless smiles, and carefully managed reputations. But when the curtain slips, the reality is often far messier than fans imagine. Normally, stars like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively enjoy enough charisma and influence to ride out almost any controversy. Their popularity makes them seem untouchable. This time, however, feels different. The legal war unfolding has grown so public, so relentless, that even die-hard supporters are questioning how much more their loyalty can endure if the next round of revelations proves devastating. The stakes extend beyond gossip. Behind the glamour lies a sobering question: will studios gamble on actors entangled in such explosive disputes? At the center of it all stands Justin Baldoni, projecting defiance. His website, filled with carefully curated documents and bold declarations, is less a defense than a battle cry. He is signaling that retreat isn't an option. That resolve has already cost him friendships, the most striking being Ryan Reynolds' about-face. Once a vocal supporter, Ryan now paints Justin in threatening terms. Such a dramatic shift doesn't happen overnight. It suggests tensions had been brewing long before the public caught on. Blake Lively, meanwhile, has shown she is willing to fight on multiple fronts. To her, this is bigger than a name in a court filing. It's about her brand, her family, and the network of friendships that anchor her image. She appears prepared to detonate a legal counterstrike if that's what it takes to protect all three. Hollywood is used to quiet settlements and backroom negotiations, but this spectacle, played out in filings, leaks, and televised commentary, feels volatile. Each new twist pushes the drama into unfamiliar, dangerous territory. The contradictions add fuel to the fire. For years, fans were fed glowing stories of unity on set, cast members bonding like family, praising each other in interviews, trading anecdotes of warmth and solidarity. Those stories now clash with whispers of division, hidden resentments, and whispered betrayal. The shift is jarring. A once solid front now looks fractured, leaving observers wondering who is telling the truth and who is simply playing the PR game more effectively. What's unfolding is no longer just a lawsuit, it's a psychological thriller. Shifting alliances, betrayal among supposed friends, sealed evidence teased like plot twists, and protective orders reaching as far as global superstars. Every filing seems timed to maximize impact. Every leak fuels another round of speculation. The deeper the saga goes, the clearer it becomes. This isn't just a clash between celebrities. It's a storm that could rattle the entire Hollywood system. That, if anything, the scandal serves as a reminder that fame is no armor when the internet amplifies every crack. Alliances can break apart in an instant. Trust can vanish overnight. And once damaging secrets escape into the open, there's no way to hide them again. With Valentine's Day approaching, the date circled in red as Blake's promised counteroffensive, the sense of inevitability grows. Audiences aren't just waiting for the next filing. They're waiting for the next twist that could flip the story on its head.